It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey everybody, what is going on? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out episode number 1061 of the RCWR show for this November 29th, 2023. Officially, we are here. This is the 12th anniversary edition. Hang on a second here. I'm peeking. Hang on. I am still playing around with the software here. Hang on, guys. Ooh, I am coming in hot. Hang on. Turn that down. There you go. I think that's a little better, right? Yeah, I was coming in a little bit too hot there. Let's turn that down just a little bit more there. There we go. Nice and booming. Now we're not distorted. Yeah, what's going on? You're officially checking out the 12th anniversary edition of the RCWR show. 12 years doing this show. I mean, really, when I stop and think about it, just the totality, not just of the RCWR show series, but we've still got in the can Wrestling with the Topics, which will be coming back. I know there's a decent amount of you guys that always love it when I and the missus team up and we do a show and everything. It's just been on the back burner because our schedules has been very, very hectic, especially with my schedule and just the amount of classes I've been continuing to add on and everything each semester, especially now that I'm getting down to the wire, getting so close to the finish line. I've really been piling on, but that is a series that's definitely going to be coming back in the very near future. But just, man, if I were to say to you guys, like, how many shows just all together I have probably put out there, I know for the RCWR show alone, like minus specials. When I say specials, like pay-per-view, post shows and all that, but if I were to even add those into the mix, I mean, my God, just total, we're probably looking at about 2,000. But then when I factor in episodes of Impact Showdown, again, Wrestling with the Topics, not to mention there was also a long time ago, we also used to do Tuesday night shows. I'm probably shortchanging myself, but probably up to now, I would say 3,000 shows that's been put out there over the past 12 years. Yes, at least 3,000 shows. Interesting watching tonight's AEW Dynamite, by the way, because I have been so disconnected from AEW as of late that I was having a hard time just, okay, chat me up on this tournament, what's going on here, how does this point system work, and, you know, I tried to get into it, Lord knows, I really did try to get into this whole tournament, because I didn't watch when it began last week, so I'm coming in. Great matchups that they had on the card tonight, without a doubt. I mean, that Jay White taking on Swerve Strickland, I was just, I like the match, but I wish that I didn't see these guys this early. I wish it could have been a case where we could have seen them much later on in the tournament. And I don't know, maybe that's a taste of things to come. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just following this tournament, that's just one of the main problems that's going on with AEW right now. And I hate saying that, but when you really stop and think about it, it's always some form of a tournament, isn't it? Always some form of a tournament that's going on. AEW Tony Khan, they can't even go a full 6 months without throwing some type of a tournament out there, and I'll say a lot more about that later on, right after the Dynamite review. But just kind of something to have in the back of you all's head. Got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. Besides talking about Dynamite Fallout, we also got a little bit more information allegedly on what's going on there with QT Marshall and his supposed exit from AEW. Got some sprinkles of some CM Punk news now that he's head on back to WWE. Jon Moxley commented, or maybe you could say he didn't comment on CM Punk going back to the WWE. Depends on how you want to look at that. But loads more that we're definitely able to get into on tonight's show. Of course, you guys' comments as well. Now, before anybody asks, anybody that is interested in maybe supporting the show and you want to put some type of a donation, or you just want to show some love and say, hey man, congrats on the 12 years. I'm going to post a link in the chat for you guys. And for those of you that got PayPal, I mean, you can pretty much do it that way. Give me a second here. You're going to hear some reverb because I don't think the volume on this is mute. So hang on a second here. For those of you that got PayPal, I mean, there you go. A little bit of reverb there. So look in the chat on YouTube right now. And for those of you that want to send a little something, whether you're doing it live or, hang on a second here. There we go. Whether you'll be seeing this live or you'll be watching this on demand and on the downloads, you just want to send a little something. There's my PayPal email. You can pretty much just send that way if you're interested. And the best part about doing it that way is 100% of whatever you're kicking in goes to me. Yeah, YouTube, unfortunately, the way those bastards operate, even if you're doing a super chat, they will actually take part of that super chat. So anything that you kick in my way through PayPal, 100% of that is going to me. Rest assured of that. That's bad how you guys are operating YouTube. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. Actually, you know what? Don't do anything with that email yet, guys. I knew that email looked a little funny. It's one letter off. Hang on. That thing is one letter off. Okay, so you guys are going to see a new link. Go with that one. Ignore the first one. Matter of fact, I'm going to delete that previous one. There you go. That's the one that you guys want to send to. Yeah, so good Dynamite, but the whole tournament thing, I just, to each its own. I don't particularly care for it. I'm actually more interested in the matchups. I mean, you can keep your little point system. I'm more interested in just tell me about the matches themselves, what's going about. I know we were alluding to it earlier there, but that Jay White taking on Swerve Strickland match, that was straight fire. I love that. I love that freaking matchup. And what a really good, strong showing there by Jay White. I like the way that they booked Jay White. Got to be honest, I know there were some people that told me on social media a couple of weeks ago after MJF had beat Jay White to retain the AEW World title there at their last pay-per-view, Full Gear. Oh, Jay White and Bullet Club Gold, they're all right. There's nothing to worry about. Those guys are just fine. Because I was not complaining, but just from an observation, I didn't like how all these weeks that was built up with Jay White and crew and the way that they were sticking it to MJF, and then for everything to just go down the way that it did at Full Gear, I just felt that it made Jay White come off looking like a schmuck when it was all said and done. And contrary to what I had said, there was actually a report that had came out several days ago which had suggested Jay White has been a bit irritated, not really okay with the way he's been booked in AEW. some reports even said downright upset with how things had played out in his program with MJF and everything. So to see Jay White enter this tournament, I'm looking at this tournament and I'm going, well, you know what? If there's anybody that has a chance of going all the way and winning the whole thing, yeah, Jay White is definitely that guy. If not Jay White, then maybe Swerve Strickland is that other one that could possibly do it, right? Just have to kind of wait and see as this tournament goes a little bit deeper and everything. But great main event match for tonight's Dynamite between those two guys. It really could have gone either way. The fact that it went with Swerve, I mean, either way, you win, right? Especially if you're a fan of both of these guys. These two complemented each other extremely well. If there was ever a reason to stick around for this live edition of Dynamite, it was because of this main event match. Didn't disappoint, too. Got a decent amount of time put in there. A little bit over 15 minutes, give or take. I think Swerve's going to go all the way, though, for this tournament. I think it's going to be Swerve. I just have this feeling that Swerve and our man Jay. Oh, what's wrong, little buddy? I just have this feeling that Swerve and Jay, they will be meeting somewhere again down the road in the semifinals, and we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. For those of you watching, you may see me look off to my furry little daughter from time to time. She's hanging out here with me until mommy can get in here and take care of her and the rest of the girls. I did my part. I've been playing with them all day, made sure they've been getting their eat on and all that. This is that part in time, though, where usually when daddy's doing the shows, mommy's watching them, but mommy is not home yet. So I got one kid hanging out with me while the others are just roaming around somewhere. She needs that extra attention, though, because she's the littlest one. I know I showed you guys her before. Miss Holly showed you guys her before. Julia Hart TBS Championship match, successfully defending against Emi Sakura. She's getting better and better by the week. Getting better and better by the week. Decent match there against Emi. Perfect foil there. Honestly, you want to do a title defense right out of the gate. Right, because this is still a newly crowned champion. If I'm not mistaken, this was, unless something went down last week, if I'm not mistaken, this was her first TV title defense. And just in case I am wrong, then second TV title defense and everything. But off to a good start. No complaints, no issues right there with that one. I enjoyed seeing Christian Cage trying to call out Adam Copeland. That was pretty hilarious there. And I'm thinking about my man, the censor guy. Thinking about the rights to censor guy who was in the back production in the truck tonight. He only had one job to do, which was to make sure that he bleeped Adam Copeland. And he failed miserably at that. I mean, seriously, he failed miserably at that. Yeah, we saw Christian this go round trying to do a little bit of reverse psychology, having Adam come into the ring as he tried to toy with him. The idea of, doing a tag team, that's not so bad after all. We should do that. I know your mom had died. A while back, it was so unfortunate. We should do it for her. We should do it for your mom. We should be a tag team one more time. This is the most hilarious stuff that you saw from Christian as he was trying his best to wiggle his way out of a one-on-one match against his former best friend for that TNT championship. I love you, man. We're family. I mean, I just love how he was just milking it for all it was worth. All said and done, Cage drops the microphone, holds the title in his hand. Looked as though maybe Christian was going to attack there, but Adam stopped him cold, dead in the tracks, kicked him in the nads. That made Christian Cage go to the ground. As Adam letting them know, I saw that coming a mile away. That was a nice try, you dumb. Nice try, but do me a favor. Sleep with that. The title he was referencing. Shine it up real nice. Get it ready and everything. But when it's all said and done next week, that baby's coming home with me. And then he tells him to go himself. You heard me right. He told him to go himself. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Great segment. But see, at least when I was able to hit the censor button, right, my F word didn't slip. Man, I mean, in real time, though, oh my God. And I'm just curious if when people get ready to go and watch that for on demand, I'm curious if maybe it's going to be cleaned up or I doubt it. I'm going to watch, though, just out of curiosity. I'm going to see what's going on with that. You know, at least they're building that up respectfully well. And, I mean, these two men, they've known each other for such a long period of time, right? That's something that most fans can automatically, because most fans grew up on these two guys, okay? They can easily get invested, ride it out and everything. You know, you're looking at the current landscape of AEW right now, and if you're looking for that respected story arc, may obviously Jay White, Switchblade. No, not Switchblade. I was kind of thinking about him, but no. The name that actually I was thinking about was Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. I liked what was going on with those two guys. Everything that had, led up to Full Gear. That Texas death match, that was one of the most insane, brutal Texas death matches I've seen in recent memory. Definitely a honorable mention when you get ready to close out the year and you're thinking about, okay, what was the match of the year? What was the WTF match of the year? Definitely, it's in that category. Definitely. But you're looking at the current landscape as far as story arcs go. Other than what's going on with this current maxed individual that's been touting MJF. I mean, really, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. I mean, that's really it. There's not even a story arc with the icon Sting, which, by the way, we got some information about Sting's final match, the date and location for AEW Revolution 2024, where Sting will be wrestling one last time. All that information that came down on tonight's Dynamite was revealed by Tony Schiavone. So it's going to be going down. And as soon as I heard this information, I'm going, man, if there was ever a reason to go on a vacation, you know what? I might just, because wifey has been trying to go back to North Carolina. She's been wanting to do a lot more, see the sights and sounds, the food, the people and everything. We got married out there a couple of years ago, so 2021. And so, unfortunately, though, we spent so much time on the wedding, making sure everything was perfect for the ceremony. We didn't even put a thought into, okay, what are we doing while we're out there in North Carolina as far as sights and sounds, like, what are we doing? And it was just kind of one of those, and we both agreed, okay, if we get an opportunity and, we can go stay at little honeymoon suite where we were in North Carolina, we should also follow up, do some really cool stuff, around the area and everything. So AEW Revolution brings me to that. So it's going to be held at the Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. And as many of you wrestling fans and historians know, Sting, a lot of great moments that he had at the Greensboro Coliseum. So I am going to be staying on top of that. I'm very curious about when tickets go on sale and everything. And that's going to be a Sunday, for those of you that's curious. That's Sunday, March 3rd, AEW Revolution 2024. So if I am going to go, I'm going to let you guys know for sure. I'm just picturing the way the logistics and everything is, that's probably going to be a case where I'm looking to be out there maybe as a Friday night and then leave Monday. Maybe I'll do it like that, or maybe get there Thursday, leave Monday. Maybe I'll operate that way. Um, or maybe it would make more sense to leave Tuesday. Now that I really think about it, because it just really depends on. Yeah, it is kind of a lot of parts are rural out there. I don't know. I'm a little bit. Yeah, I'll have to look into the logistics for that one now that I'm thinking about it. But of course, 1988, Ric Flair taking on Sting, and here we are all these years later, right? 2024, Sting, his final match. Ric Flair's going to be there at ringside. That should be a really cool moment. I know Tony Khan is already thinking about the future for Sting. He's hoping that in some form it's going to be a case where Sting will continue to act as a ambassador of some type for AEW and still make appearances for AEW. I mean, man, can we just first get past this retirement tour and everything leading up to Sting's final match? Can we just knock that out first? Then we can talk about. I mean, like, that should be a surprise, too, by the way. After the retirement match is all said and done, if Sting does agree to do some type of stuff like that, then obviously you don't want to. You feel where I'm coming from? You want that to be a surprise. You want that to be a special treat for fans down the road. Don't be talking about it right now. Keep that close to the vest and everything. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we hope that even after Sting has retired from in-ring competition in AEW, we hope that in some capacity we can continue to have him contribute to AEW somehow, be it as a coach, or a production standpoint. We hope that, right? And then but to be very specific, and from that standpoint about what Tony Khan was hoping that they can do with Sting in the near future, like, don't overplay your hand. Just, right, keep some things close to the vest and just keep it moving along for all intents and purposes. I'm being told that Julia Hart did have a title defense against Lady Frost on AEW Collision this past Saturday. So, FYI, so what she did tonight against Emi Sakura, that would have been her second title defense. Like I told you guys, full transparency, I have fallen out of love with AEW. I have. Not because of the whole CM Punk stuff, but it's a totality of stuff. We'll talk about it in a hot little bit. We'll get through Dynamite first, and then I will lay out to you exactly what my issues have been with AEW and how I hope that things get better in the coming year for the company and everything. But we'll get to that in just a hot little bit. So, yeah, nice big news right there. I'll keep you guys posted on when tickets become available. But that's definitely something I'm going to be looking into, because I actually would not mind going. I would not mind going to see that. See some other stuff that had went down on tonight's edition of Dynamite. Wardlow squash match against AR Fox. I know Wardlow in the current story arc that he has going on, which is much of nothing, but basically he's coming after MJF. Look, you're going to come after somebody, at least look the part. I wasn't sure what was going on there with his hair, but it was really hard for me to take Wardlow as a serious threat because the hair was just too... What was wrong with the hair? Some of you guys may be saying that didn't watch Dynamite tonight. The hair, it just did not match up with everything else that was on display of Wardlow. Here is this big, muscular, cockstrong looking dude. He's got this mean mug of a face. But then when you get to the hair almost looks like something that had belonged to one of the singers from NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys. It was really hard to take Wardlow seriously in end this daggone match. There's a simple solution for that, honestly. Look, if that's how he wants to continue to push his hair, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think when he gets ready to come out to the ring, man, you really want to sell I am a kick-ass machine. Just wet that hair up. Take some water, whatever, gel, comb it back, right? You'll be all right. You will be all right. Just for 3 minutes. It's only for 3 minutes. That's all you got to do. It's just for 3 minutes. MJF had a segment of the night. I looked at this as MJF, in part, doing a little bit of damage control over the optics, which we had talked about on the Monday night show, okay? Of CM Punk going back to the WWE and the optics of that and everything. And MJF out here doing his own little AEW rah-rah. I don't believe anybody put him up to do this, by the way. I honestly don't. I feel that legit this is what he feels in his heart and everything. But I like how he pitched it while also putting over his future opponent for the AEW World title in Samoa Joe, which was really badass in itself. I love the fact that he brought up TNA back in the early 2000s, talked about how he went to the TNA site, he ordered a poster, and apparently there was one poster in particular he wanted. You know, he wanted something that had Samoa Joe on it, basically, and he looked at Samoa Joe as a larger-than-life persona, thought he was the biggest, baddest person on that whole TNA roster and everything, and knew, not just by looking at him, but continuing to follow the man's work, that he truly was one of the baddest mofos on the planet and everything. Even gave that nod in recognizing Samoa Joe's later portion of his career, particularly in the WWE, even calling out WWE and saying that, you know, you would have thought that when it counted the most, when Samoa Joe had essentially proved himself, you know, for so many years, that, okay, now in WWE he's going to get that opportunity to become a world heavyweight champion, but for whatever respected reasons, WWE did not crown him. They did not anoint him as a WWE champion. So I thought that was a nice way to really have the crowd in attendance, and even those watching at home, feel a little bit sympathetic towards Samoa Joe. But then also at the same time, it gets MJF over from the standpoint of, look at this benevolent thing that I'm doing as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I am giving somebody a shot at the title. And not because I'm doing it out of pity, but because this man in Samoa Joe is still able to go at such a high level and everything, right? He is still a top guy. He is still a threat in 2023 and beyond, right? So I kind of liked how everything was spun on here and everything, and putting over Samoa Joe. Also, MJF taking a little bit of time to talk about how he had a hand in building AEW brick by brick since day one, and that he also did it by beating Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. Yes, he mentioned that name. That made the crowd erupt. That was tingling to their respected ears and everything. Mentioning Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, but of all the names, the one he looks at and considers himself lucky to have survived is Samoa Joe, as he dubbed him a wrestling legend, but then puts it back on December 30th, their Worlds Collide, World's End event that's going to be coming up, saying it's not about Samoa Joe's legacy. This is more about MJF's and whether or not he can outlast the final boss in retaining this championship. There was also a nice little spot in his promo where I'm trying to see if I had wrote it down here in my notes, but I don't think I did because there was a lot that I was jotting down here. But there was one part of his promo where he talked about, hey, I'm not, other guys can come in here and, they can just be about the money, but I'm about this business. I'm paraphrasing. It's about 80% accurate of what MJF had said. I would believe that it's probably on social media by now, but I'm not going to bother searching, to the front and back on whatever site trying to find it. Just take it for what it was worth. But this was basically a retort to what CM Punk had said in his promo, which honestly, his promo was fine. I just feel that at the very end, when the camera was still on him and before he could totally fade to black, him saying that line about, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. A lot of us looked at that particular portion of his promo and said, okay, he's taking a shot. He is taking a shot. Now, some people will feel that, no, he wasn't taking a shot. Like, that's just how life is in general. When it comes to working and everything, it's like, you want to make some serious money or do you want friends? And some people will tell you, well, hell, I'd like a little bit of both, honestly, but a lot more money don't hurt nobody, right? But still, a lot of people, and rightfully so, a lot of people looked at what CM Punk had said towards the end. Okay, shots fired for whatever it's worth. Shots fired. And of course, we've got everybody wondering when CM Punk is going to be saying something in regards to. I would just hold your breath on that one. I really would. I would not be surprised because of two things. And we talked about it briefly on Monday night, but I feel that there is some type of a gag order that's in play. There is some type of a non-disclosure agreement that is at play. And it goes both ways. I feel that there is certain things that Tony Khan can't say about CM Punk. CM Punk can't say certain things about Tony Khan and AEW. So when it's all said and done, Punk ain't saying nothing. I don't see him saying anything for the foreseeable future. Now, if maybe you want to fast forward about, I would say, 4, 5, almost 6 months, as far as CM Punk finally giving that first big interview since he's been back in WWE, I could see that being a case where maybe he sits down with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Maybe they do a session of Broken Skull. Maybe they do something with that. Ariel Helwani has been a name that's constantly been brought up. He's interviewed Punk before. I think that would go extremely, extremely well. And we know Ariel is good friends with Nick Khan. So if it's not kept in-house and made into some type of WWE documentary that they can air on Peacock, then yeah, for sure, Ariel is something of, then that's the second best thing I can see realistically that could, can, will occur. But waiting for something to come out before the year is out, you can pretty much forget that. I honestly would not be surprised if at this point the man just wants to, hey, look, water under the bridge. I've moved along. Let's go. Speaking of moving along, Mark Briscoe taking on Roosh. Nice, hard-hitting bout right here. Roosh, win, lose, draw, I think he will definitely shine pretty well here in this tournament. I don't see him winning it, but regardless, win, lose, or draw, I see him thriving very well in this tournament. I'm glad he's actually in this tournament because for a little bit there, it just seemed like him and the whole LFI stable, they were just really lost in the shuffles there for what it was worth. John Moxley was in action tonight, too. He picked up a win over Jay Lethal. That was actually the Dynamite opener as Bryan Danielson was on commentary. Danielson will be wrestling in this Continental Classic tournament this Saturday on Collision, which, by the way, I'm going to be coming at you guys on 411 Mania with a double dose of AEW live coverage. I'll be on Friday doing Rampage, and then Saturday, because Theo is usually the guy that is the Collision man on Saturdays, but he's going to be taking some time off this weekend, so he won't be available Saturday. So you guys will also have me for AEW Collision coverage this Saturday as well. So looking forward to interacting with the decent amount of you guys. That's always fun. I usually have a good time when it comes to watching Collision. There, it's good stuff right there. Awesome opener, by the way, between Jon Moxley and Jay Lethal. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good opening there. Trying to think if there was anything else that was kind of noteworthy from tonight's Dynamite. Not really. Not really. Yeah, not really. Just thinking about some bullet points I want to mention about this episode overall, but mm, decent episode. Decent episode. I'm just thinking of the matches that was on here tonight. Decent amount of matches, nice quality and everything. Nice little rebound from what I've seen within recent weeks. This Dynamite felt almost as if I would say, okay, guys, let's get out there, let's really bust our asses and let's really entertain. I kind of got this impression of the AEW talent had a little bit of a chip on their shoulders, whether or not that's because of what's been happening with Punk, and or the fact that QT Marshall rolled out and now everybody collectively is going, look at all of these people that have left AEW, over the course of, put whatever number out there, but obviously the optics, it doesn't quite look right with AEW right now. And where is that rah 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 moment where we all rally and charge, right? Where is that? And it kind of felt like tonight was one of those nights where, okay, I see that they're trying. My whole thing is, can you keep up that level of consistency on a regular basis rather than just be able to have one really good episode out of, span of 10 weeks, right? So 10 episodes total, and you're lucky if you had got 3 really great episodes. You got to be batting a better average than that, I personally think. But it's kind of like what me and a couple of my friends were talking about in regards to AEW. Now, kind of going back to what's going on with me. Why have I kind of fallen out of love with AEW? For me personally, what's been annoying for me is seeing tournaments that just happen almost every less than 3 months. And with the introduction of all these different titles, it's gotten to a point where you're like, wait a minute, man. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to figure out what is what. But, man, just when I think I've got everything down, okay, then you all introduce this into the mix. So, damn, how many titles are there, running around that we got here, right? They really need to stop doing these tournaments. They've got to stop introducing title after title after title. And they just need to simplify things, right? Don't get it wrong, folks. They've got the talent. That's the thing. Tony Khan and AEW, they have the talent. That roster, I mean, when you just really take the time out and you go through all the men and women that they have part of AEW, it is a great freaking roster. Quality is definitely there. But where that quality gets diminished is every time you turn around, we're doing these matches where C spot, run, spot, run that spot. I mean, it's just a high flying spot fest. Okay? And that gets so annoying and irritating after a while. You can't always keep relying on that. Yeah, that's going to be good for maybe one or two shock value moments and everything, whether in a positive or in a negative. Negative, somebody gets injured, unfortunately, botch move or whatever. But that's only going to give you that short term adrenaline, right? Okay, you do all that hoopla, high flying stuff. Whoopie doo, you only went up by like 3% in your viewership for that respected quarter segment. Whoopie doo, right? So they've got to slow down the tempo, is my whole point. They got to let it be about telling more long term stories, right? Get the fans to invest in these men and women that's part of their roster. Lewis, one of our longtime supporters of the show, he put this comment out that I want to read to you guys. Yeah, and I looked at this comment and I just couldn't help but go, huh. Yeah, but I want to read this to you because I thought it was a very interesting comment. This kind of follows up on what we were talking about Monday. There was one portion of the show where I basically said, yo, Tony Khan, going forward, needs to focus on the men and women that's currently on his roster. More specifically, focus on that initial mission statement that AEW put out there when they first began the promotion, which was, we are that promotion that's trying to be all about the talent that has yet to be discovered. We're trying to be about the young, up-and-coming talent that's out there on the market. We're trying to be about introducing new names, new faces to the wrestling audience. Men and women that we feel will be homegrown talents, will be major impact players in the years to come. And they're all going to be from right here in AEW because they'll be pushing this company. They'll have this company on their shoulders and taking it to the next level, taking their respective careers as well to that next level, right? So Lewis had this to say. Tony has to do whatever he can, say whatever he can, open up that checkbook and go get Drew McIntyre in 2024 if the reports are true. MJF has quietly resigned. MJF has quietly re-signed. You signed Ospreay. He needs a big-time free agent signing. Mercedes Moné will be a solid get, but he has to find a way to sign McIntyre. Now, look, I don't know how you guys personally feel about that. And, again, Lewis is a long-time listener, and, Lewis is entitled to feel however he wants to feel, and you guys want to let him know how you feel about that comment, that's on you all. But, when I read that comment, I just couldn't help but go, do you really need a Drew McIntyre? Do you really need a Mercedes Moné? No, you don't. You have all the talent, and it's not my first time saying, hey, make no mistake about it, AEW has the talent. AEW has the talent. Again, AEW has the talent. They do not need these names that Lewis is throwing out there. No, I agree with the whole open up the checkbook, right? Do whatever he can, say whatever he can, open up that checkbook. Okay, I'm with you on all those points, Lewis. But then when we start talking about a Drew McIntyre or a Mercedes Moné, wait. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Because, see, that's when you start to walk a really fine line where you go get those people. Bad enough over the years, you've had people say, oh man, AEW is starting to become WWE light. Because they're basically just, oh, dude, you're not dating her anymore? Well, can I get her phone number? Can I get her phone number? Was it good? Is she good? She any good in the bed? Well, let me get her phone number, dude. Okay? I mean, that's literally how AEW has kind of come off. You can very well make an argument that as far as sloppy seconds go, AEW has feasted a lot more on WWE scraps than vice versa. Tell me when I'm lying. Tell me when I'm lying. Okay? No, you get to a point, if you're Tony Khan and crew, especially after the debacle that was CM Punk, you're going, okay, you know what? Unfortunately, things didn't work with Phil Brooks. But, man, look, I got Adam Copeland. This guy is so well liked. He's so well respected. He wants nothing but the best. He's trying to pay it forward. Okay, you know what? Yeah, a lot of you guys are saying, man, Edge is like nowhere near the caliber level of a CM Punk. I don't care that he's a Grand Slam and he did this and he did that. He hasn't been a polarizing figure as CM Punk. So, nah, man, that wasn't really a good trade. I see what you guys are saying out there. I hear you all. I see your all points of view. But to have Edge come in there after, right, from everything that we know about CM Punk has always been one of those people who he's going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. He's going to give it to you right between the eyes. He's not going to sugarcoat it because he is a man that has nothing to lose. He does not fear for his financial security, well-being. If he sees something that is unjustly, he will freaking be on it right there on the spot. He has shown that time and time and time and time again. Okay? Whereas you have somebody like a Edge, Adam Copeland, and Adam Copeland, if he does have any type of, I bet you he's just going to take care of his stuff behind closed doors with the respected people that need to hear it. And it's not going to be broadcast out where everybody go run tell that to a dirt sheet or whatever. And then it gets misconstrued in the process. And the next thing you know, it's overly exaggerated. Okay? But, like, you've already brought in Edge Adam Copeland. Most likely, Beth Phoenix is somewhere down the road. Most likely, she's going to appear. You've already got the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, who has signed a multi-year deal, which Woo Energy is basically covering all that. So essentially, it's much like Macho Man Slim Jim deal going to WCW. It basically paid for itself. WCW got Macho Man for free. Okay, AEW is practically getting Ric Flair for free right now. Okay. So you got that going, and long after Sting has retired, Ric Flair is going to continue to be there. So you'll easily be able to go from one legend to another, right? You'll be able to keep that ball rolling and everything. No, the answer is not, well, we'll just go get a Drew McIntyre. We'll just go get a Mercedes Moné. How about you focus on the men and women that is already part of your roster right now? How about you focus? Because Lord knows, anybody that has a pair of eyeballs, you're looking at certain people on that AEW roster, and you're going, God damn, what are they doing to my man, Powerhouse Hobbs? And if the reports are true, that CM Punk was not a fan of QT Marshall and the QTV segments, and when he was doing his thing with Collision, he really did not want to have anything to do with that. On Collision, he really wanted for Powerhouse Hobbs to really break out as that true singles competitor. That CM Punk saw what essentially Cody Rhodes and others saw and was trying to, if the reports are true, you're looking, for example, a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs. That man should have accomplished a lot more in his AEW career. Right now, what has been happening to that man has been a damn travesty. I'm not saying my man should have already been a world heavyweight champion by now with AEW, but what I am saying is storyline wise, this man should have been booked much better by now. I thought for sure when he beat the crap out of Jericho weeks back, that was the start of something that was, but man, did that flatline real quick. But you're looking at original homegrown talent like a Powerhouse Hobbs, and you can make an argument a lot more should be done with this guy. You're looking at Swerve Strickland, and just the trajectory of Swerve Strickland right now. I mean, his game has been on a whole nother level, even way before the Texas Death Match with the Hangman. Just the trajectory of his career has been on a whole new level. And if he continues to keep swinging it out of the park, I see no reason why by summer of 2024 he shouldn't be an AEW World Heavyweight Champion. You continue to push guys like that. You continue to make an investment. That's the better choice of words I want to use. You continue to make investments in people like Swerve Strickland. You continue to make investments in Julia Hart. Phenomenal work. She's coming along. Continue to invest in her. Continue to invest in Sky Blue. Willow Nightingale. For sure, MJF. Darius Martin has had some really bad breaks. I'm hoping that, knocking on wood for him, he can remain healthy. I'm looking at the Acclaimed. I'm looking at Darby Allin. Darby Allin, I'm putting an asterisk by his name. I know he likes to do some fun stuff on the weekends when he's not wrestling these days, but it's one of those, dude, we need you around for a good little bit. You're no good to us if you're getting injured and it has nothing to do with wrestling, and we've got a pay-per-view coming up, and heaven forbid you're not able to do the pay-per-view. Like, we're missing out on that particular audience, right? So, got to reel that back just a little bit. I'm still looking at Ray Phoenix. I'm still looking at Commander within reason. There is a lot of great homegrown talent that AEW currently has on this roster, and now more than ever, my message to Tony Khan and crew, press more into them. Invest more into them. Put them on your shoulders, right? Do whatever. Like, help them get to that next level as far as I'm concerned. So the whole notion of signing a Drew McIntyre, signing a Mercedes Moné, that's not going to do anything. Chris saying in the chat, Drew isn't leaving anyway. I don't, unfortunately we've got some people, and this is no shot to Lewis, but we've got some people that will just read dirt sheets. I mean, they, and they will take that as the gospel. They will take that as the gospel. And because that is the gospel, they will be in a position where you can't tell them otherwise that, because Meltzer, Alvarez, or Sapp, because they said, I'll give you a perfect example. I wasn't even going to mention this, but I'll give you a perfect example. Right before the show, I was doing like some last minute prepping and all that. And right before the show, I was taking a look at, I just happened to see Camille Brickhouse of NWA. I just happened to see this post of hers on social media where she basically was telling the wrestling community, hey, I like how everybody knows what's going to be happening next in my career as far as where I'm going to go. And she followed it up saying, the only thing I'm doing right now is trying to enjoy my vacation. That's all I'm trying to do. So, for those of you that don't follow NWA, you don't follow Camille Brickhouse, I don't know how this report was created, but there's this report that was put out that Camille has already given word to Billy Corgan and the NWA that she's not interested in renewing her contract, and that pretty much when she's done with the rest of this calendar year and everything, like that's it. She's pretty much going to be done. So they're saying that first quarter of 2024, Camille is going to be a free agent. And so everybody has pretty much just been copying, pasting this news and everything. And they've been running with that like as the truth. This is pure speculation, but right. But the way it's being presented and everything, like this is the truth. And you've got Camille saying, "Wow, you're right." She's not saying flat out. Now, I'll give a little bit of wiggle room where wiggle room needs to be given. She's not saying anything as far as confirming or denying that she's spoken with Billy Corgan and NWA about her contractual status, right? But at the same time, what she is saying is, look, you guys saying I'm leaving NWA. Like, she's pretty much saying that's news to me. Like, I've never heard of that before. Like, what the hell, right? And this is one of those perfect examples where you've got people that are guessing rather than try to go right to the source for comment. And I'm sure Camille, if anybody had actually took the time, like I know based on how much coverage I used to give the NWA back in the day, and Camille knows I'm cool people. We actually follow each other on social media. I would imagine that if I were to say to her, hey, look, you seen the reports that was out. Like, even if you don't want to do an interview, like anything you want to, you want to just come on and just, I'm sure she would appreciate that gesture and be like, yeah, thank you for asking me. Thank you, as far as clearing the air and, really letting the truth be told and everything, right? I'm sure she would greatly appreciate that, even though she has her own respected platforms and she can honestly do it herself. That's what makes technology and social media in 2023 and beyond so cool, is when you see stupid little reports like this that's running around, it's easy for a mofo to say, hang on a second, hang on. I got to get in front of this before it even continues to, get worse or, because I'm not feeling what's going on here. And just no matter where you are in the world, you got a phone, you got a tablet, boom, you get on, you say your piece, right? Boom. And then you just hit that little button and then you're back off, right? Now, I've been saying on this show for years, don't be sleeping on Camille. Camille is badass. Camille would do any women's division proud, no matter their promotion. Whether you're TNA, WWE, AEW, right, whoever, like, hell, even Wild Women of Wrestling, like, she would be a welcomed addition for that respected promotion. And I have always sung her praises. Okay? Whether or not she's going to make that move with her career and take it to that next level, that remains to be seen. It's up to her, obviously, what's going to happen and everything. But like all this bogus BS reporting that's being put out there. I mean, let's be honest, you just got people that make news just to make news. They're making something out of nothing. That's what it is when it's all said and done. So my advice to you guys, stop giving these Meltzers, these Saps, these Brian Alvarez's, stop giving them your freaking money and instead invest your money directly into the wrestlers that you love supporting, that you've been following all these years, because a lot of these so-called dirt sheets that a lot of you guys are subscribing to, I mean, they're doing nothing no different than copying, pasting from actual people that did put in the freaking legwork. That's the honest truth. I hate to say it, but I call it how I freaking see it, man. It's BS. It's BS. It's kind of interesting because sometimes I'll get around some of my friends at college, with like in between classes, and we'll talk a little bit about wrestling. And you can tell who is not aware of the dirt sheets, and then who is aware of the dirt sheets, but is able to form their own opinion, right? So for example, like I was talking with one of my buddies, Thomas. Shout out to him, and he was like, "So that CM Punk return, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah. How about that?" It's like I didn't think it was gonna happen. I said, "Really?" He was like, "Well, not on that night. I felt he was always gonna return. I just didn't feel he was gonna return that soon." Like, really? It's like, yeah. Wow. Contrary to what some of the dirt sheets were putting out there, like you just maintain that thought process. Yeah, I did. What do they know? And this kid he's just a kid. He's like 18, 19 years old. And it was like, I love this kid. I'm like, are there more wrestling fans like you that can just think for yourself like that? Like, seriously? Like, seriously, are there more of you guys out there? Because I would love to meet you, seriously. We need these people schooling the wrestling fans that's currently out there. It's just, well, if Meltzer said it, it must be true, right? It's like, no, no, not always. It doesn't always mean that, my friend. So I was talking about QT Marshall earlier. There's more news that had came out in regards to QT. By the way, I'm so salty right now, man. I'm so salty. Have you guys looked on shop.wwe.com? You guys will be salty because check this out. I'm not going to pull up the image, but if you go on the site right now, as far as CM Punk merchandise goes, now they put up a damn sweater. Now they got a sweater that's available. It's like $64, okay? They got a sweater up. I'm looking at the sweater and I'm going, oh. I'm like, why couldn't you guys have this available initially when I was looking online? Because I would have loved to have, purchased the damn thing right then and there. Like, come on. They also got some pictures up where a piece of the ring or whatever. I'm like, that's really nothing, right? That's really nothing, especially since it's not autographed by CM Punk. It's really nothing, but they're trying. They added a couple of more things on there, so for those of you that might be a little bit interested, have at it and everything. But QT Marshall, we were just alluding to him a couple of minutes ago. So there's a new report that has some additional information, allegedly, on his exit from AEW. So you've got one report that's floating around that said QT Marshall was said to be frustrated with things in AEW, including wanting to be more active as an on-air wrestler. House of Wrestling has a new report documenting how some of that frustration played out. The report notes that Marshall's influence in AEW began to fade quickly once Cody Rhodes departed AEW. While he was still liked by many in the company, it was noted that others who were closer to those in power got a chance to work alongside Tony Khan. This was around the time Marshall began pushing more to work as an on-air wrestler rather than a backstage coach. And the two issues led many backstage in AEW and WWE to have not been surprised that Marshall exited the company. The site also spoke to some close to Marshall who said that his references to AEW's new direction and his announcement, which we had read in his own words, word for word, on the Monday night show, is a belief that AEW is moving in a direction closer to New Japan Pro Wrestling, where matches are the focus more than storytelling, as Khan likes that style more. And we have been seeing that a lot more. Don't get me wrong. I've had my share over the years in watching a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I will check out a New Japan event because I want to see two particular matches. But as far as, okay, I'm going to be watching this on a regular basis, God bless those that do. But it's just not for me. It's just not for me. I have my favorites from New Japan, but overall, as far as like, yo, diehard fan, you're gonna be watching this on a weekly, monthly basis. Like, no, this just it's just not for me. Even when I had finally did a couple of years back, paid a monthly subscription to check out New Japan World, I rarely was getting on there. Rarely was getting on there. And I'm like this, if after I forked up money out of my own pocket to invest in something and I'm not following up on it, oh yeah, you best believe that before the next billing cycle, I'm going to let that bad boy go. QT Marshall is said to now want to focus on having fun, wrestling, and improving as a performer, in the site's words. Many believe that Marshall's friendship with Rhodes could position him as a coach within the WWE, though he is reportedly mostly interested in wrestling as he has his own school with Rhodes where he can train talent. He doesn't believe WWE will allow him to wrestle and coach, though he would be open to it if there was an option. All that said, those on the WWE side have said they are doubtful that WWE would be interested in bringing Marshall on as a performer. Marshall was said to be hesitant to take some moves when he last worked for WWE due to neck issues. And while his creativity is considered a plus, it was noted how many good people WWE already has in backstage roles. So that's where we stand in regards to QT Marshall. I mean, honestly, at this point, depending on how much of a buddy chum he has in Conan, maybe there might be a future for QT in AAA. Maybe there might be a future for QT in New Japan, right? There's really, you got to take all this with a grain of salt, and you got to make sure allegedly with like everything that you're hearing. The one thing that is definitively crystal clear, QT Marshall finishing up his remaining obligations with AEW, and he's going to be rolling out. He let it be known in his statement that the company is going in a different direction, and this is a great time for him to now go on a different path of his own and everything. And I mean, it's funny. I saw some of the reactions to QT's comments, and a lot of people were going, who the hell does this guy think he is? Right? Assuming that he thinks that he is this big shot. He should be a superstar. He should be and I can understand people having a nice hearty chuckle at that and everything. But I've always been one of those type of people that will say to somebody, and I've said it here repeatedly on this show, know your worth. When you know your worth, when you know your self-value, can't nobody else tell you otherwise. Because at that point, then it is up to you to go out there and go get what's yours. Go get what's yours. Right? Now, some people may look at the whole QT situation and say, yeah, but Lee, that is like on an entirely different level of WTF. The ego on this man. Like, seriously. Let me tell you something. Real people know this that have tried and failed with whatever career path they tried to embark on, whatever job, right? Real people know about this. Okay? In order to get to, okay, perfect example. You're trying to break into the field of broadcast media, journalism. Well, if only it was that easy to just close your eyes, wiggle your nose 3 times, and boom, you're already in that position. It ain't going to go down like that, right? It's obviously not going to go down like that. Even if you happen to know somebody, right? Man, that's a huge favor. If you, man, they must really like you like that in order to put you in a position where other people are definitely qualified. They have the respective qualifications. They've got the educational background and the whole 9 yards. But they all are being overlooked for you because of your friendship with, man, look, in those rare instances where that has happened, but typically it doesn't happen like that, does it? Typically, if you are trying to have that respected career in that industry, you got to go put in the work. You got to go get that education. You got to go get that degree. You got to go get that experience. You got to go for a little internship over here. Hopefully it's a paid internship, or hopefully it's an internship that'll turn into, hey, you did such a great job doing your internship, we want to offer you a paid position, right? But my whole point is, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. But once you know your self-worth, can't nobody tell you differently. So, I mean, look, until we hear QT in his own words, yeah, that's right, I'm trying to be a megastar. I feel that I have what it takes to be. Until we hear it come from out of his mouth, we got to take what's being said there as hearsay. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, he feels that his wrestling and all that, he feels that he should be in the same conversations like a Darby Allin, like a MJF, like a Wardlow, or like a, let's just say that. Let's just say that's where his head is. Who are we to tell him how he needs to see himself? It would be no different than telling somebody, wow, you got dreams and aspirations of being president of the United States? Man, get out of here. You, president of the... Man, keep making my burgers. You tripping. It's like, man, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. Seriously, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. Okay? So, hey, I can't hate the man. If the reports are true, go get your worth. Go get your worth. Seriously. As somebody that has been learning how to edit videos, audio, producing video, producing audio for over 10 years. So as far as self-experience, I've got the knowledge. But I need a piece of paper to validate that knowledge so it can open up more doors for me. You know what was the one thing I had going in my mind when I decided I wanted to return to college to get my degree? Man, I kind of feel like an old head. I kind of feel like, maybe I shouldn't be out here, doing this because this is a young person's game, and maybe I should just accept the hand that I dealt myself and just keep working this crummy 9-to-5 job over here. And if I want to go make some extra side money, I can just do this side hustle over here. Or I can just go. Oh, my wife told me real quick. She said, honey, you're not living life. You're just accepting the hand that you dealt yourself. Can you really look at yourself in the mirror and be content? This is what she said to me years back, before I had decided to go back to college. And I said, no, knowing myself, no, because I will always wonder what if. She was one of the first people to tell me, go get what's yours. And I'm glad I did, because now my mindset, just everything, I'm at a whole different place than I was so many years ago. especially now that I am at the cusp of getting my degree. And then, like, I've already made connections with really great, friendly people that, yeah, look me up. Yeah, as you get a little bit closer, graduation, yeah, look me up, man, look me up. It's like, it's not just talk. It's like, no, look me up. Hook me up, right? I'm trying to get the hook up, right? It's like, hook me up, what's up? Like, yeah. Just stay connected. Once you get a little bit closer, graduation, it's like, reach out, we're going to make some moves. We're going to make it happen. QT, he never has, as an on-screen character, he never has clicked with the fans. They have tried any and everything to get that man over on programming. I remember one of the last things, he had one of the AAA titles, and he did some sit-down interview with Jim Ross and talked about he's going to be a fighting champion this, fighting champion that, and I just remember going, man, this is flat. Everything that I've seen with QT Marshall and AEW, it's been flat. Now look, there's only but so many. It's this person's fault. Well, it was because, well, the writing, until ultimately it's just, you sure it's not you? You sure that maybe you just don't have that captivating of enough of a character / charisma to command, And look, wrestling isn't for everybody. I look at a guy like QT Marshall. Now, I'm giving you guys my honest thoughts on QT Marshall. I kept it very neutral. And that's how we do it here on the show. I like to do it in a way where you guys can look at it from many different angles. Now, you're asking, Lee, right? What's going on in your brain? How exactly do you see QT Marshall? I think QT Marshall best serves well as a supporting character. So if you've got that wrestling stable that's going on, right? QT is great in one of those best supporting roles. QT Marshall is also one of those guys who I honestly see and I go, I don't really know if the world of pro wrestling is the world for you, but you do have that right type of look where you'd be better suited for a TV show. Am I lying? I mean, let's be real. Just close your eyes for a second. You can picture QT Marshall as that bad guy of the week on one of the Law and Orders or CSI or FBI, whichever one of those shows that's out there. You can see QT being one of those guys that ends up getting killed on The Walking Dead. We're going to go down this way instead. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. Gets eaten by the zombies, right? He's got a great face for Hollywood, especially if maybe you were going to do some type of a Queens, New York movie or whatever on the Mafia or whatever. He looks like he'd be perfect for that type of casting, right? Wrestling's not for everybody. But I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that whatever he's getting ready to put his mind to, he succeeds. Honestly, I am not going to be one to tell somebody, man, no. I may talk trash off air behind closed doors to friends and family. But in all honesty, I'm not going to be one to be like, no. Having been there, done that, and, nobody knows their own worth, their own value, except that person themselves. And it's like, once you realize your worth, then it's a matter of getting out of your own head, getting out of your own comfort zone, and putting in the work. And that's the thing. I also got to mention this. All right, so you want to go get that, right? That's what you're trying to be about. Okay, well, there's going to be some slippery slopes on that ride. How much are you willing to endure in order to get to that finish line? Something to think about. Something to think about. It's amazing. I had no intention of going down that path. Just the way the show works. Whatever comes to mind. See some other stuff. So look, as far as the optics, CM Punk returning to WWE. You know, we kind of touched upon it on Monday night. Doesn't look good if you're AEW and Tony Khan. Right down to the point. I know Bryan Danielson had put out a tweet on X that had a lot of people wondering, yo, how much did Tony Khan pay you to say this crap, dog? Like, seriously. And basically, if you had missed the post, I'm paraphrasing here, but Danielson said something. As a matter of fact, hang on here. Because Bryan Danielson doesn't tweet that much. So I will actually be able to find it with freaking ease. Let me see here. Let's see here. Here's what he said. My dad always told me the right thing is often the hardest thing to do. It won't always make the most money. It won't always be the most popular. But it's still the right thing. AEW. I thought at the time when that tweet had came out, it was just so cryptic. And I'm going, what the heck? And now we hear this report that had came out, which now makes that tweet look like, so we're doing a little form of damage control here. That's what we're kind of doing, right? So now we kind of know a little bit more about what's going on with why Bryan Danielson put this post out and all that. So shout out to the good folks over there at Fightful Select who put up a report that revealed CM Punk's termination from AEW was allegedly spearheaded by a committee that included Bryan Danielson. According to roster sources, Danielson was incorporated into the 3-person disciplinary committee due to his reputation as an appropriate moral compass who exemplifies objectivity and assured the de facto head position in its proceedings. Fightful reports that AEW General Counsel Chris Peck and an unnamed attorney from outside AEW were the other 2 members alongside Danielson. Additionally, Danielson served as the voice of the group and explained to AEW talent that the choice to fire Punk was a complex and difficult one, according to members of the roster. Danielson reportedly considered both his own friendship with Punk as well as the contributions Punk brought to AEW. The wrestler recently, again, that post, right? So now, you look at that and you're kind of going, Fightful will go on to mention how AEW sources told them that CM Punk is probably aware of Danielson's role in the committee, given the number of Punk's affiliates who were present at the roster meeting. So, one thing that comes to mind when I hear this is, number one, in the past, we've heard of how, what's the right word I'm looking for? We've heard of how, trying to figure out the right words. It's hard for me to just throw it out there, but I'll just, if you've crossed CM Punk in previous years, and we've heard people do shoot interviews that would comment on this. I know one of the last ones was Hornswoggle, right? I've talked about that story here on this show numerous times, so I won't rehash it for the veteran listeners. But once you've crossed Punk, that is it. There is no coming back. I mean, hell, we just talked about the situation with Ryan Satin, right? I mentioned all of that because I can't help but go, wow, this friendship between Danielson and CM Punk. So Danielson voted that Punk should be removed, one of the things that comes to my mind is, one, CM Punk aware that Danielson had say. Two, Danielson, Punk, they still cool? Are they still cool? Right? I really can't help but wonder that, right? Because it's like, ooh, talk about being put between a rock and a hard place right there, you know? And I knew there was a lot more between the lines of what Bryan Danielson was saying. I don't know. Maybe Bryan Danielson got some type of word that maybe a report was about to be put out by the people at Fightful about this or what. But I just thought the timing of it was interesting because when I first looked at that post by Danielson, I'm going, oh, maybe this is how he's responding to CM Punk going back to WWE. Is that what's going on here? You know, of course, the other thing, this could be a situation where CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, they go back a long, long time. Wouldn't that be something if CM Punk said to Danielson, dude, I don't know how much longer I can take working in this company, man. I think I might be out of a job before. I'm telling you. While some people are playing checkers, some people are playing chess. And when some people are playing chess, some people play their game of chess one move at a time, while others are just like 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead. What if Danielson, CM Punk, I'm just saying, anything is possible. Anything is possible, right? It's okay to have friendly, hey, consider this. Just speculating. There's nothing wrong with fun speculating and just consider this thought for a moment. There's nothing wrong, so as long as you let it be known. But it just really makes you wonder. Really makes you wonder. Something to think about. Let's see. Other than that, I got my ex-Twitter blowing up a little bit on here. Let me see what's going on here. I see a couple of retweets. Hang on here. See a couple of retweets. That's good. Thunder Rosa. I don't know what's going on with my girl Thunder Rosa, but I miss seeing her out there. Let's see here. Let's see. No, I'm good. I'm caught up. Just making sure that I wasn't missing anything here. But yeah, I'm caught up. By the way, shout out to John Draper. John Draper and his wife, they stayed at a Airbnb recently, like a couple of days ago. And I feel for them because they got a serious case of bed bugs. And John shared this picture of just his hand alone. And his hand is just totally messed up. Bed bug bites. I looked at that and I just said, what the flying hell? It was like you'd have sworn that maybe he got hit by a bunch of mosquitoes or something like that. That's how bad his hand looks. But yeah, he had put out a post saying that just a friendly reminder to check for bed bugs when staying in an Airbnb or hotel around the holidays. And again, his hand looks really messed up. I cannot stress it enough. A lot of you guys may think this may sound silly, but my wife will tell you it's just how I roll. Anytime we get ready to travel and we're staying at a hotel, I always have a can of Lysol. Always. I am scrutinizing the bed sheets. I am checking the mattresses. I'm making sure it is all on point. And then even if after I deem it to be all right, I still spray the mattress down. I spray the sheets down. And I keep it moving along. I do not play around. Especially if my pets are coming with me as well. Right? Because I got to think about their safety as well. When they're tagged along, because it's not like they can say, hey, and we can understand them nonetheless, hey, something's like wrong with my skin. It itches really bad. I think something's biting me, right? If only our pets can talk like that, and we understand what they're saying, right? But we don't. It's just not possible. But no, everywhere I travel, and I had to learn that the hard way. I remember there was one year, almost 5 years ago, was at Northwest DC. Was staying at the Cambria Hotel. And the customer service was top notch. Everything was great. Food, all that, the way the room was set up, everything was on point. Everything was on point. My wife got bed bugs. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. Because we both slept in the same bed. But where it was different, I remember I slept with pajamas and a shirt on. I think maybe a long sleeve shirt. Whereas she just slept in her pajama bottoms. And I think for a top, I believe she was just pushing a t-shirt. So very, very, very short sleeves. But man, her entire arms, her hands, her arms, all of it was messed up. Half of her upper back was messed up as well, all from bed bug bites. And it was insane. I remember that Sunday when she woke up because she was getting ready to go get the car. And she's like, man, I can't stop scratching. I'm like, what's going on with you? She's like, I can't stop scratching. I'm like, well, stop it. She's like, I can't. Like, can you check me out? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm like, hun, these look like bed bug bites. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, these look like bed bug bites. Sure enough, bed bug bites. Like, so ever since that had went down, I always make sure to take a can of Lysol and I spray them bitches down. I don't care. I spray them down every time. Better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to bring anything weird home, man. Seriously. Let's see here. Go through some comments here. Yep, it's our 12th anniversary. Shout out to I'm trying to get this damn thing to scroll down, but it's not scrolling down for me. Hang on here, guys. Can I do it this way? All I'm trying to do is scroll. And I can't even scroll. Damn. I'm trying to scroll on the back end here, but it's not letting me do it. And it's very, very nerve-wracking. Oh, wait a minute. We got a reconnecting. What's going on here? We got a reconnecting issue. Let me see here. Stream is reconnecting. And I'm glad I have this recording. Because, yeah. Let me see here. It's trying to reconnect. Let me see what's happening here. I'll put this on mute. And it's still trying to reconnect. So for some odd reason, the stream got disconnected. It's trying to reconnect, but nothing is happening right now. So I think what I'm going to end up doing, let me see here. Yeah, the internet is working fine. Otherwise, I think what I'll do is I will go ahead and I will hit stop stream, and I'll just go ahead and upload that. I'm glad I always hit the record button. I can't stress it enough because you never know when some tech issues will go down. It's always a good idea to make sure that you're recording in the background. That way, if something weird goes down, you guys will be okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hide this from everybody to see. Bear with me a second here, folks. That sucks too because I see that the stream got interrupted within the past 10 minutes. So it's only missing the last 10 minutes of the show. That's what freaking sucks. It's missing the last 10 minutes. Ah, It's kind of like one of those, do I really want to re-upload this? It's like, do I really want to re-upload this? I'm going to you know what? I'm going to let the current stream stay for what it's worth. I'm going to let that stay for what it's worth. And then what I'll do is I'll just re-upload this portion. That way they won't feel cheated and they'll be able to see the last 10 minutes of the show. Oh, that's funny, though. I usually reboot the laptop when that happens. But actually beforehand, usually because I have a ritual, I always reboot the computer before starting the show. And I was just so confident that tonight, you know what, I should be good. There shouldn't be any issues. And yet, for some weird reason, after about an hour 26, the stream gets interrupted. Very, very weird. But shout out to those of you that had said, happy anniversary. I appreciate that. Yeah, 12 years been doing this. It's really hard to believe that 12 years have already flown by. I mean, that is just insane when I hear that. It's like 12 years, really? 12 freaking years. But yeah, 12 years already. Truly blessed. Truly blessed. Truly, I remember when I had decided that I was going to get into the crazy world of podcasting. My wife looked at me crazy and she's like, okay, are you having like a midlife crisis? Are you really sure about? And I told her, I said, no, this is something that I really want to do. I'm really interested in it. And I told her the reasons behind it. And she said to me, well, look, if you're going to do it, then it only makes sense that you be consistent about it. You give it your all. And most importantly, have fun. And all these years later, I'm still having fun. I mean, even since I've been taking my classes, I've been learning some interesting new tricks when it comes to audio production and all that. So it's been helping me take my game even more to that next level and everything. I'm loving it. I mean, I'm having a blast. I'm always learning something new when it comes to doing these shows and then doing stuff outside of the shows, but in some way, believe it or not, it ties into the shows, because whatever I'm doing on the outside, I can essentially bring it all back to here and what I've been learning. And it's truly, honestly, the one thing that I appreciate the most is those of you that have constantly been going out of your way to support the show. And I don't mean those that just occasionally, like once or twice a year, they just show up just to show up, but those that actually make a conscious effort to join every single live stream, especially on the pay-per-view post-show nights, those that go out of their way to interact on social media, those that take the time out. Sometimes I've shared some bad news on social media, and folks have been very kind, and you all know exactly who you are. I wouldn't be doing these shows if it wasn't for you guys that continue to come in, week after week, month after month, continuing to show the support. And when I ask you guys, hey man, please share this throughout social media, hit the like, all that, you regulars, you let it be your goal to show that support and everything. So if I say, hey, can you leave a rating and review on this platform or this platform, you guys represent, and you do constantly. And I'm forever in debt to you guys. I'm forever in your debt of gratitude for that. So look, I've rambled on and on and on. Officially, we are on to year 12. This is our 12th anniversary edition show, which at the same time marks year 12 that we have now been at this, onwards to the following year. As you see, we got some new graphics up. I also had put up some new graphics on the Monday night show as well. I'm going to be continuing to play around with even more graphics in the coming weeks and everything. But in the meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Yo, be a pal. hit up the Spotify, hit up the Apple Music, leave the rating and reviews. The YouTube, I've been doing a lot more YouTube shorts, so support the YouTube channel and all that jazz, right? Because I'm definitely doing my best to come at you guys with more content, all right? You can get at me on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook at the RCWR Show. We got some great sponsors that we're going to be working with in the coming weeks. Can't tell you guys more about them. Some of them you'll be able to hear their ads. I'm hoping that I can have their ads beginning as early as this week, if not next week. But until next go round, I'm wishing for all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Your next edition of the RCWR Show will be coming at you guys. I can't believe this, but the last month of the calendar year. I can't believe we're already going into December. I cannot believe that. December 4th, 2023. That will be your next edition of the RCWR Show. That is going to do it. Until next go around, we're wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care, y'all. Peace.